Forget gurus. Forget anyone claiming to be an online business expert without going through the challenges of entrepreneurship themselves. The Real Money, Real Business podcast is here to prove the best insights in online business comes from your fellow online business builders. We dig into stories of entrepreneurs selling their business on the Empire Flippers marketplace so that you can learn how they made their business profitable, how they overcame obstacles, and what lessons they learned in their online journey. If you want to take your business and your knowledge to the next level, you've come to the right podcast. Let's get started.
Hey everyone, Max here with another great business discussed on this episode of the Real Money, Real Business podcast. Today's guest is Nicola, and she's selling her Amazon Associates display advertising and info product business on the Empire Flippers marketplace. So welcome to the show, Nicola. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
It's good to have you here. So before we start, I'm just going to give a brief overview of the business. It's an Amazon Associates display advertising and info product business in the children niche, created in October 2012. The average monthly revenue for the business is $5,090 and makes an average of $4,193 per month in net profit. For everyone listening, you can visit empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48230 to learn more about the business. Included in the sale is a domain and all the site contents and files, an email list of 45,000 subscribers, social media accounts including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and YouTube, a Pinterest account with 142,000 followers, and author copyright for the info products. So now that I've given a general overview of the business, could you tell us a little bit about your background in building and running online businesses?
I don't really have one per se. I did, however, work for a tourism company just out of school. So I was responsible for adding new clients to their website. That basically gave me my first taste of publishing content online.
And how did you come up with the idea to start this particular business?
It was about 8 years ago. My third child, she had a colic as a baby. And I wrote a little ebook about it, wanting to help other parents who were going through the same thing. So I researched how to market this book, and blogging was one of the ways. After months of blogging about parenting articles to try and sell this book, I switched to sharing kids' activities and crafts, which was more of what I was doing at the time. And I felt more comfortable sharing educational things rather than parenting.
And how does this primarily make money?
Display advertising.
People should choose this business model. What's so appealing about it?
Well, I chose it because it allowed me to share all my activities at no cost to the reader. Yeah.
And there's sort of like quite a few different monetizations on this. Could you just talk about sort of how they work and what exactly they are?
Okay, the display advertising is content driven. So people would come to the site and then ads would get displayed. My other one is Amazon affiliate. So I get referral fees for that. And I also have a bunch of digital products which earn revenue.
And how did you go about creating these digital products?
It's from either reader feedback or from keyword research and what is generally needed in the age groups. So it is educational driven.
And for this site, where does the majority of your traffic come from? Is that Google search? Is there social as well?
Some months, Pinterest and organic search, they compete with each other. So the two main ones are Pinterest on organic search with some email traffic, people returning from my email list to the site.
And what do you currently do in terms of marketing?
I mainly pin things. So I pin things to Pinterest. I make new pins for older content so that it is fresh in the eyes of Pinterest, which gets more eyes on it. So they come back to older posts. Other marketing things I do, email and keywords for organic search.
And can you describe sort of the amount and type of work that you personally do on this site for maintenance?
I am very much in maintenance mode at the moment. So basically what happens is I come up with the ideas based on a few factors, and then I have my content creator, which is one person, create the printables. She also does the images. And then I take these files and I put them on a Google Drive for my VA, who's the one that writes up the post and edits things and puts it all in draft mode for me in WordPress. This is where I would go in and add my finishing touches, like making sure the snippet is set when the posts go out to social media and adding any of the printable forms so that the readers can actually download the printable. I do have a few automations set up when it comes to sharing content, so I fill those out. Other than that, it's adding the refurbished pins into Tailwind, which pins to Pinterest, and writing up sales and promotion emails if needed.
And you mentioned the VA and the content creator there. Do you think they'd be willing to work with a new buyer?
I have spoken to both, and they're very willing.
Is there anything that you've learned from this business that you might apply to future businesses?
I would say my biggest things that I've learned while managing the site is SEO and structuring a post. I think are the biggest things. That and looking in data to see what to make next.
Why are you deciding to sell the business then instead of keeping it and growing it yourself?
For the past, I think it's almost 8 years now, I've been sharing kids' activities and crafts for toddler and preschool age groups. And all 4 of my own children are now past this age, which means I no longer have the content to share and the fact that they're now in school.
If you were to keep the business, what are some ways that you would try to grow it?
I would definitely expand more into the printables for the age groups that the site is for. I would look more into the data, see what's going on there. And I would definitely produce more quick win products to sell. If I can define quick win, I find a lot of people love the let me download and use it.
You've also built up a pretty big email list. Can you sort of describe the work that you do for that and maybe how the sequence works?
I have a few sequences. There's a welcome sequence. So basically they will go through the welcome sequence and I would lead them to 3 of the top posts. So that is getting more traffic on things that people actually want to see. I obviously introduce myself in there and what they can expect out of the emails. And if they sign up on a printable opt-in, they get more printables. So more traffic for the site. I also have what's called a quick start guide. So that is they sign up on a landing page and then they go through a quick start guide, which is basically on the topic that the landing page is on. Other than that, I have an automatic post notification, I think that's what they call it, that goes out. So once a post is published, that notification goes out. So I automate my email as much as I can, but I do still write personal emails when I see the need.
What do you think are the biggest risks with a site like this that a buyer should be aware of?
I would say the pandemic saw advertisers reduce their ad budget, which meant the RPMs went down by half. But this also meant that on the flip side, the amount of traffic that came in during that low RPM time was evened out with all the traffic. So I didn't really lose anything, but that's something to be aware of.
And if a buyer was to come in for this business, would you be willing to commit to a non-compete?
Based on the reason for selling, I would not compete on a toddler and preschool age group. I will, however, disclaim that I have another site that targets the higher grades, as in 1, 2, and up. And that site itself is focused on editable worksheets.
And how much support would you be willing to offer a buyer?
About 2 months of support. Additionally, I can film some videos on how to run the site that can be shared with staff members. There are also 2 sales upcoming this year that I'm willing to advise on.
And are you open to negotiating something like an earn-out?
I would prefer to get the full amount, but I am open to hearing about it.
And something that we like to do towards the end of this sort of podcast is maybe give some advice to people that are just starting out in their online business journey. So what advice would you give to our listeners that you wish you knew when you started creating businesses?
I would be more targeted in what I was doing. I don't know if you know the phrase throwing spaghetti on the ceiling. I really wish that I had made more printable resources from the start and turned those into digital product upsells.
And was there any software or tools that really helped you at the start of running this business?
I did a lot of research my first year of blogging, and I think the most valuable thing was joining Facebook groups in that niche and doing a collaboration in the starting out, yeah.
And last few questions from me. Putting yourself in the shoes of a buyer, why do you think that this is a business worth buying?
It has room to expand into more topics and themes for the age groups and to make more digital products. And if can even expand into the next age group, which is kindergarten.
And is there anything else you'd like to share that I might have missed?
I want to go back to the VA subject. My VA, who I used to write up my posts, has been with me for around 2 years. So she knows the site very well and can be trained to do what I do. So the site can be as hands-on or hands-off as the buyer likes.
Well, that's a good point to add. Apart from that, do you think there's anything else?
Not really.
Well, thank you very much for joining me today.
You're welcome.
Okay, everyone, thank you for listening. To learn more and see if this listing has already been sold, head over to empireflippers.com/marketplace and search for listing 48230. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the link in the description to go straight to the listing. Once you've unlocked this listing, you'll be given everything you need to know about this business, and I'll see you in the next episode.